handed my father's safe key to the police. By sunset, every member of my family had blocked my number. My older brother sent one message before he did. I hope you're proud of yourself. My sister called me a traitor. My aunt said dad would have been ashamed to have a son like me. Even my mother told me not to come to the funeral anniversary the following weekend. None of them asked why I'd done it. They'd already decided I was the villain. The strange part is, I loved my father. Even after everything, he'd been dead for 3 weeks when the detective asked if I knew about the safe. I told him yes. He asked if I had the key. I reached into my wallet, slid the small brass key across the table, and watched his expression change. You understand, he said carefully. Once we open it, whatever's inside becomes evidence. I know. And your family won't be happy. They already aren't. My father owned a construction company for almost 40 years. Everyone in town respected him. He donated to schools, sponsored little league teams, paid for veterans memorials. At his funeral, people described him as generous, honest, selfless. Listening to them, I almost wondered if they buried a different man, because the father I knew had another side, one nobody else ever saw. Growing up, there was one rule in our house: never ask about the safe. It sat behind a painting in his office. Heavy, steel, always locked. Whenever someone mentioned it, Dad smiled and changed the subject. As kids, my brother and I used to invent stories, gold bars, stacks of cash, government secrets. Dad would laugh but never open it in front of us, not once. The week before he died, I visited him in the hospital. He looked smaller than I'd ever seen him. Machines filled the silence between us. Right before I left, he grabbed my wrist. Take this. He pressed the safe key into my hand. His grip surprised me. If anything happens. He stopped. His breathing became uneven. Don't let your brother get there first. I waited for him to explain. He never did. Those were the last clear words he ever spoke. After the funeral, my brother insisted we clean out Dad's office immediately. He seemed unusually anxious, almost desperate. The safe probably has the will, he kept saying, or business papers. Every few hours, he'd ask me the same question. Did Dad ever give you anything? I lied. No. Something about the way he kept asking made me uncomfortable. 3 days later, Detective Morales knocked on my front door. I'd like to ask you a few questions about your father's business. I assumed it was paperwork. Instead, he showed me copies of invoices. Some looked altered. Others had signatures that didn't match. Then he asked about the safe. That's when I remembered Dad's last words. Don't let your brother get there first. For the first time, they sounded less like a request and more like a warning. The police opened the safe the next morning. My mother refused to come. My brother demanded they needed a warrant. The detective calmly explained they had one. The lock clicked. Inside wasn't money or jewelry. It was paperwork. Boxes of it, contracts, bank statements, hard drives, ledgers, everything carefully organized. One folder sat alone on top. It had my name written across the front. The detective handed it to me. Inside was a single letter. If you're reading this, Dad wrote, then I wasn't brave enough to fix what I started. My hands began shaking. He admitted that years earlier, he'd discovered someone inside the company had been stealing. He'd covered the losses himself to protect the employees. Then he learned the thief wasn't an employee. It was family. He spent years gathering proof because every time he confronted him, the money disappeared before anyone else could see it. I wanted to believe he'd stop. He didn't. I failed as a father by protecting him. My eyes dropped to the final sentence. I'm asking you to protect everyone else. The detective quietly pulled another folder from the safe. It contained bank transfers, property records, forged approvals, shell accounts. Every document pointed to one person, my older brother. For nearly 8 years, he'd been quietly moving company money into businesses he secretly owned. Millions of dollars. He'd expected Dad to die before anyone found out. Instead, Dad had left the evidence waiting. My brother laughed when the detectives questioned him. This is ridiculous. Then they placed the documents on the table. His smile faded. Within minutes, he asked for a lawyer. My mother looked completely lost. She kept whispering, there has to be some mistake. There wasn't. By evening, the entire family blamed me, not him. Me. If you destroyed the key, none of this would have happened. You ruined your brother's life. You could have handled this privately. It amazed me. Not one person asked about the stolen money, only about the embarrassment. Months passed. The investigation uncovered unpaid workers, suppliers who'd nearly gone bankrupt, families whose retirement funds disappeared because my brother had quietly drained company accounts. The business almost collapsed. The only reason it survived was because investigators recovered enough of the stolen assets before everything vanished. One afternoon, an older foreman knocked on my door. He'd worked for Dad since before I was born. I almost lost my house, he said. If you hadn't turned over that key, I'd have lost everything. He shook my hand. That meant more than he probably realized. My brother eventually accepted a plea agreement. Prison wasn't the headline. The victims were dozens of them. People who trusted our family for decades. I still don't hear from most of my relatives. Birthdays pass quietly. Holidays are smaller now. Sometimes people ask if I regret giving the police the key. I always give the same answer. No, because that key never locked away my father's secrets. It protected his last chance to make things right. The family I lost had already chosen loyalty over truth. The people I helped never had that choice. And if I had to slide that little brass key across the table 1,000 times to protect innocent people, I'd do it every single time.